Life is exciting. I love it.
Allan and you helped me so much when I was at the crossroads of my life.
A lot of people in this time are focused on what they can't do. We've got to change that thinking around what can you do. We're still leaning into you to say, I like you, I trust you, I've got no weapons, I'm not going to hurt you.
We know that you've been teaching that about dominance, whether
Yes.
your hand on the top, whether somebody's hand on the top of your hand.
Is this something that I get up every morning and say, I want to do this? Or is it, I'm just going there to get the money? When you're fighting and there's a winner, you're both losers.
Oh, Barbara, you look, how can I say, surprisingly well groomed. I don't know if it's the right impression, kept, because all of us, even Alan's haircut, I liked it. I mean, I understand that you did it, but look at,
of course.
It's kind of one of the challenges to keep kind of nice and trimmed, during the coronavirus. I like this. Look, there's a good joke I can give it to you. Hi, the more we stay at home, the more we look homeless.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's exactly my case, I think.
That's good. So I got to go. See you, Gennady.
Thank you very much, Alan. Thank you. Look, I put it in my hand, like already, yes, I love it. I think it's really good. Yeah, so how are you, Barbara? You really look, you just came from some designer or fashion fair.
Oh, good, because I just had my dressing gown on, so.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. That looks good. I look professional. I just dropped something. Let me just pick it up. At the moment, just about, the heart hello, and it's been really going well.
Yeah, well, I presume that you had a lot of interviews, and so everybody in time of crisis, I think, want to hear what people, famous people, known people, good people can say about that. I was telling Alan that one of the reasons I started that I want to share the wisdom of those people to my audience and to my part of the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I will have about 50 interviews, and I even plan to have Chuck Norris.
Fantastic!
Yeah. So I talk already to his agent, and so it's possible. So, but yeah.
I like him.
Yeah.
I like him. He's good.
Yeah, he's good. So how are you, Barbara? So really good to see you, and your spirits are up, and your smile is as always gorgeous, and so you're doing.
I am fantastic. I am fantastic in a very, very crazy world, but we're moving forward so rapidly. I don't think I've even been busier than I am now.
Exactly. Yeah.
And just changing the direction of the business now, because I've got the time to think rather than running around doing normal business, getting Alan ready for seminars and creating new things. I don't have that responsibility. So I'm being very creative in different areas, in the digital area, and we're doing lots of videos, which you've been part of and you've been watching. So life is exciting. I love it.
Yeah.
Plus, I've got my kids at home full time.
Yeah. Well, that's something. Well, let me first maybe say a few words about you, and if you please correct me if I make a mistake. So, Barbara was in the shade most of the time in the past. She was busy with her kids, and she was helping Alan enormously. And I personally believe, Alan is not here, but I think he agrees, that behind his success and behind his being such a public, well-known, speaker, writer, was and is you. You have been behind. Yes, you helped him and you co-authored a lot of stuff, and you were running the business, and you are CEO of Pease International. And so you were sort of behind all these wonderful things which were happening. And the most successful books, and I think 18 or 19, I think, bestsellers, which you wrote together. And obviously, in each of the books, there's at least half of it deals with the woman's perception of things. And that was you.
Very important. Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
important. And Allan was doing, of course, he's getting his testosterone, traveling the world and getting applause. But you were staying at home. But yes, but now kids are, almost grown up. I mean, they definitely don't need that much of your, involvement. So, and you started your own coaching thing now, which I believe is tremendous, because I was mentioning in my interview with Allan that Allan and you helped me so much when I was at the crossroads of my life. And I'm saying that, I don't want to say it lightly, but because I feel like already here, but a lot of stuff which I did with the changes, and you influenced it dramatically. You influenced it more than Allan. Allan more like with his life, and you with your advice. Because if you remember, we were talking together about this and that, and I don't want kind of to share it on public, but definitely what I have now in the life which I have is thanks to you. Thanks to your guidance.
Thank you. Thank you. And you've got a great family, and I'm so pleased that you did take my suggestions, and I'm glad it helped you, because you've got a beautiful family, you've got a great business, and you're a fantastic person. And we absolutely love working with you, and we love our friendship with you. It's touches my heart.
Yes, thank you so much. Peace family. Yeah. Ooh, one thing which I regret that I didn't, visit you at your place. Now it's more problematic, and we don't know what will be in the future, but at least virtually. And it's not important, actually. Now we understand that a lot of stuff can be done really online, and with a certain imagination, even not with imagination, but we get a lot of stuff online, and it's as good as normal interactions, like starting from.
But you have to come back. You have to come to our house. You have to come and see us and spend time with us, and we'll show you our kangaroos and the beautiful Australian bush and beach. So once the world is less crazy and we can start traveling again, your family will need to come and spend some time with us.
Thank you so much. We're definitely looking forward to that, and looking forward.
Me too.
So I know that you are coping well, and the kind of point of those programs is to share the wisdom, to get some practical, down-to-earth advice to people, my viewers, people who might just accidentally pop into my channel. So what to do, how to take this really big challenge which all of us face. And at the same time, I think we're sharing the same thing. Like we thought, a lot of people think that it's a blessing, because there are so many good things happening inside of us. So if you can tell your experience, what you feel yourself.
Just to give you the background, so our business, the same as your business, has stopped overnight. And the first thing that we did, we just accepted that the income has gone, and that we need to, I love a challenge. So the minute that there's a challenge, I become very creative. And so you can either accept your position and what's happening around the world and to yourself, or and deflect it. So I deflect all the negativities. I've been ringing businesses and places, talking to them, and half the time I say to them, "Oh, I'm sorry, did I ring you? Were you asleep?" Because people are working from home and they're depressed. And I'm working from home. I always work from home, so it's part of who I am. But I'm always positive, and I don't think the same as other people. I think creatively. So if there's a roadblock in front of me, then I'll say, oh, do I go over it? Do I go under it? Do I go to the side? So let's see what I can do. A lot of people in this time are focused on what they can't do. We've got to change that thinking around what can you do. So for our business, we're doing videos, we're helping people, we're telling them to be creative. We're looking at the body language of the world, which is really concerning us because people are using a lot of negative body language. So when we're walking down the street exercising, you see people move away from you.
Mm-hmm.
They're not saying hello. They're not smiling. They're not connecting. They're worried about the virus spreading from just walking past someone. And the handshaking is causing a lot of issues around the world because people put their hand out to shake it and the other person goes, oh, I'm not touching you.
Right.
You could have the virus. Or if they do touch, they get the hand sanitizer out and they start washing their hands, which is absolutely, it's not rapport building. It's quite negative. So we sat down, Allan and I, and said, well, what can we do to make the world a better place? So 1, we're doing videos. 2, we created our hello heart, saying hello and putting your hand on your heart, but still having the body language. So we're still leaning into you to say, I like you, I trust you, I've got no weapons, I'm not going to hurt you. We're still looking at your eyes to read you, and we're smiling, the right smile, the bright, the teeth. Hi, how are you, Kennedy? And you feel connected to me. Rather than, there's a lot of, I don't know what's happening in your part of the world, but in our part of the world, people are saying, oh, what about a fist pump? Well, that's still transmitting germs.
And
our
it's
government
a masculine thing, whereas this one is universal, it's unisex, and men and women can practice that. And it's I think it's great. It's really good.
Yeah. It's warm, and that's what you need to be in these times because there's enough stress on enough people, and just giving that warmth and smile to someone, that can make their day. And that's what we're worried about, all the negative body signals that are going out there, that we give the world something positive, which is, the heart hello.
And even with the handshakes, I think it was still kind of, we know that you've been teaching that about dominance. Whether your hand on the top, whether somebody's hand on the top of your hand. And then with this one, there is no dominance. You cannot really be, showing your masculinity by that. It's just, it's good stuff. So
it is a great
alternative. Peace language or peace known in the world. Yeah, why not? Why not?
So the other thing in this environment is it's the way you react to the virus. So for me, I've enjoyed being at home with my 2 kids, and the kids are homeschooled. So their school is online. So they're teaching the kids.
The same here.
But and it's great. And my kids actually don't want to go back to school.
Same.
Especially Bella, she's saying, oh, Mum, I love having lunch and morning tea with you. It's fantastic. But, of course, they will be going back to school because it's important for the teachers to have one-on-one contact with them. But with your business world, you need to stay focused on what you can do. Sit down and look at how your business can change, because our world is never going to be exactly the same. It's always going to be different from this virus, because once they get a cure for this virus, there's going to be another virus. There's going to be challenges, and we now know that it's so easy to spread through the world and through the community. So, there's a lot of changes. So how can you be creative in your business? And it's also a great opportunity for people to say, do I really like my job? Is this something that I would do for free? Is this something that I get up every morning and say, I want to do this? Or is it I'm just going there to get the money? So it's life-changing as well, because you might be at home and you might be doing something. You might be great at being creative and putting those items that you've made up online and starting an online business. There's just so much for people to do if they don't focus on the negativity of what is happening. So many people are ringing each other, being negative, focusing on, oh, this virus, it's killing me, it's destroying me. I'll give you an example. We built a building and we got the keys to that building just before the virus hit.
Yes, I know that. Wonderful, wonderful condos which you've built, and several of them.
So when we got the keys, every single person from the builder to the real estate agent, they said, your building is going to stay empty. And I went, no, it's not. I'm going to find tenants. So I engaged a couple of real estate agents, but I said to them, I'm going to do it myself. So we put, as Pease International, we put ads on Facebook Marketplace and on our Facebook pages. And we literally just put it out there to the world that we have 7 units available. And, you know, if you'd like to come and have a look at them, we'll show you through. Well, I think we've got a couple that we're still negotiating with people, but all the residentials are gone. And every person in the industry is shaking their head saying, how did you do it? I'm not a real estate agent, but I have tenacity. I never give up. I never think about the negatives. I put my goals down, which will be at the end of the week, I will sign up 2 people, and I just go for it. And it's the numbers game. So the more people that I see, that I show the building to, and I'm doing all of that. I'm showing the building, I'm showing people what the units are, because that's the environment it's in. I can't wait for someone in the real estate industry to find someone for me. It's my building. I built it and I need to fill it. So, you know, again, someone else who may have been given all that negative information may have thought, you know what, I'm going to have an empty building and I'll just leave it up to all the agents to find someone, and they would be in a situation where they would be paying for an empty building. But I'm not that person. I just never take any negativity. I find new solutions and I go for it.
You have to be trained, like you have to train your brains and your attitudes, so it doesn't come out of the blue. I mean, it requires a lot of action in terms of maybe thinking, meditating, maybe kind of removing negative information, maybe stopping, reading news that much as, a lot of us do, unfortunately, and all these stories, and you don't know whom to believe now, the source of the coronavirus, whether it's Chinese, whether it's like, it's terrible. And if you start going into that, what you really cannot change, then you're just making your life more miserable, and that's it, without any positive outcome. But how did you train yourself, Barbara? How did you train that you are health expert? I know that you started now, Allan was boasting about his gardening. I am doing gardening. I'm enjoying it. Yesterday I was putting tomatoes, which will grow to meters, and it's amazing. It's amazing. But tell me, how did you manage to become what you are? What are the secrets? And that's really, I'm absolutely dead serious. I don't want, really kind of Polish talk. Tell me, because you're an incredibly resourceful woman. I think you are tough. And as I said, if you say yes, it's yes. And if you say no, it's no.
Put it in a nice way.
Yeah, no, but that's true. So tell me about that. I mean, how did you manage to become who you are?
I think it goes back to my childhood. I was born into Housing Commission parents. I believe there was just something inborn in me that I used to watch my parents struggle. They gave me a very, very hard work ethic. You work hard, you don't give up, you just work and work until it's complete. And I watched them do this for very little return. They weren't paid big amounts of money. They had 4 daughters. They looked after us. They dressed us beautifully, but they went without all the time. And then at the age of 12, I decided that my parents could not help me move forward in life. So I ended up getting 3 jobs.
When you were 12?
When I was 12, my neighbour who had a little bit of money, she was a terrible cleaner, whereas mum had taught me how to be a spotless cleaner. So I used to go on school holidays, and every week I'd go and clean her house and she'd pay me. And on school holidays, I'd go through her cupboards and I would work and I'd tidy them, organise them. So she'd pay me for that. Then she worked at a supermarket and she said to me one day, would you like to work at a supermarket? And I said, yes, please. And then I got into the supermarket and I decided I had to learn every area. So if someone was sick, I would go to that area because they didn't have to train me. I was already au fait with how to do fruit and veggies, how to do the deli, how to do the till, how to pack all the groceries. And my third job, which was really important, I worked at a skating centre, and I was really young to be put on the front counter, but I used to let all the people in, take their money, and then I'd go over, when that was finished, I'd go over and I'd do the milkshakes and serving people there, and I would run the events for them. And so each job that I got after that, I would learn every aspect of it. And I think I didn't know what I was doing, but I was upskilling. I was learning a skill for free. I would go into my workplace and just sit with the salesperson and say, what are you selling? How are you doing it? How does that work? I then went to work for airlines, which was amazing because, again, I was doing reservations, and then when my shift finished, I went and sat with the finance person and said, could you show me how the finance side works? That finance person would go on holidays, I'd slot in and I'd do that. So I was giving myself all these skills, but also variety. And then from there, I went to newspapers, and newspapers is a really amazing industry because you learn how to sell, you learn how to write, you learn how to read people. So that was, again, another industry. And I just found mentors. Since I was 12, I always had a mentor that I would learn from, and I would just listen to people, and I just kept gaining more and more and more knowledge until probably after I had my first son, Adam, I decided to go out on my own in business. I started my own modelling agency. I then started getting requests from government agencies saying, you're so confident and you have the ability to connect with people from all walks of life. And we need you to teach unemployed people how to be confident, how to go for a job. And I said, yeah, sure, I can do that. So then I built a business around helping the underprivileged, how to get a job, how to feel great about themselves, because they were brought up in a negative environment. So I had to turn the negativity into positivity. So I think for me, it was inbuilt, and I've just gone from strength to strength. When I met Allan, I remember the first time I met Allan, I introduced myself and I said, I'm stealing your material. I teach your material to unemployed kids, and they absolutely love you and love what you say. And then I said, I do the practical side. I get them to practice, and I help them, and I teach them, and I tell them how to find a job and how to upskill in the job to get a better job. And Allan just said, you're very different. No one admits to stealing my stuff. I said, why not? I'm being honest. I said, and I'm here today to watch your conference because I want to learn more. I want to learn more. And I also want to take more of your material, any new material that you might have, to then pass on to my students that are struggling with their life. And I can just still visualize Allan shaking his head saying, where did you come from? Planet are you from? You're positive, you're happy, and you're so truthful. And I never really thought of myself in those terms. I'm just who I am, and you've known me for a long time, and if anything negative happens in my world, I might be sad for maybe a day or maybe a half day, but then I'm like, okay, I can't do anything about that, but what can I do? Okay, I can do this. I can find out about this. I can ask for help. I can find an expert that can tell me what to do, and I just keep moving forward. I just can't think of negativities. It's not me. It's like IVF. When I was doing IVF, I was a geriatric person trying to do IVF with a husband who had prostate cancer, and every single doctor said, no, you can't do it. And I just looked at them and I said, oh, I don't even understand the word can't.
And IVF is this, what IVF stands for?
Introfertilization. So
That's right.
they harvest your eggs and they get Allan's sperm, and they outside your body, they create an embryo, and then
But
they
it was like one of the first experiments in Australia at that time, right?
Yes, for especially for what Alan had in prostate cancer. We had to hire a specialist that had only really done it on pigs, and we hired him to do it on us. And of course, we've got two beautiful children, but the doctor that we were going through, he kept pulling Alan aside saying, I think you might have to get your wife some counselling, because, you know, the chances of her actually doing this is like nothing. She won't be able to do it. She's too old. You know, there's just so many negative things against her.
May I ask you how old you were? When Bella or when Brandon?
So with Brandon, I was 42 and a half, and then with Bella, I was 45 and a half. So, but I didn't think of myself as old. I still don't think of myself as old. Age is a number. It's what's inside of you and what you do. I mean, I still play with the kids. I go to the gym every day. I'm active. And, you know, the other day, Bella goes, Mum, would you like to do a handstand or a cartwheel? I said, sure. And Alan said, I don't think you should be doing that. And I went, why not? So off I go, and I do a cartwheel. And then I said to him, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. That was a bit crazy. But again, I don't think of my age. To me, life is worth living. We only get one life. So let's just do everything and enjoy it and forget about the negativity. So again, with the IVF, I was wearing bibs around my neck. I'd have pink and blue, and I'd go to all the doctor's appointments with these bibs, and the doctor would be like, okay, we're going to implant you, and they would implant the embryos in me, and I'd walk down the corridor going, guess what? I'm pregnant. And the doctor was like looking at Alan going, she's a nutter. And Alan said, don't talk to her. Don't talk to her unless you want. She will just say, please don't talk to me. If there's any statistics to tell, could you please tell Alan, because he loves statistics. But you see, I don't believe in statistics, because I'm not a person that you can put in a little box. I'm different, and I think differently. And every day of having that embryo implanted in me, I spoke to the baby. I was like, you bury inside of my wall. I want to meet you. I want to hold you. I want to see you grow up. I want to go to your wedding. And, you know, people may say, well, that's nutty, but it's not. It's goal setting and looking at that goal and feeling the goal and seeing the goal and realizing it. Now, okay, so what if I had failed? Then what could I do? I would adopt. That's, you know, and I wouldn't regret it. I would have known that I did everything. I was positive. I ate healthy. I exercised. I talked to my babies. I did everything in my power to have Bella and Brandon. But if I hadn't have achieved it, yes, I would have been depressed, and I would have set a deadline. I would have said, I'm going to cry and mourn the loss of the children that I can't have. But then I would get up after my depression deadline and say, okay, Al, let's look at adopting children, because I've got so much love to give, and adopting a child would be amazing. I would love them as my own. And so, you know, always forward thinking and planning, but never ever thinking of that until it would happen, because I was always going to have kids.
Yeah, and you have lovely, lovely kids, and I'm following them on Facebook, and gorgeous, and you know, Bella looks like you, and the same smile, and it's amazing. It's really like a copy of you. I think it's
mini me. And she's got my attitude too.
well, that's the most important. Yeah, and I know that you started coaching. Is it relatively recently? I know that you had this joint session with Allan and this VIP coaching, but now you are doing it on your own, right? You are.
So it's a new aspect of our business. I mean, I've been giving advice to people forever, but never in a capacity as a coach. And with the new business model, I just said to Allan, I'm going to coach people. I really love it. I really, really love helping people. And I have a gift I can look at a situation and I can find so many solutions, and I can see what problems are in people's lives. Mm-hmm. What's their roadblocks? Why aren't they achieving what they want to achieve? And I've got, No, I'm 58 this year, so I have a wealth of knowledge, and I want to be able to give it to people to get them to move in the right direction, because so many people are stuck, and a lot of women are stuck. They don't believe in themselves. They have no confidence. They're not moving forward. They're just stuck in, I can't do that. It's not possible. And you know what? Everything is possible. If you can visualize it, you can see it, you can feel it, then you can do it. They just need a little bit of help.
Yes, a little bit of push, and then an example. And
I've been
especially
coaching
now,
you all your life. I give
yeah,
you advice even when you don't even want it.
yeah, exactly. And now with Corona, I mean, they are saying that there are domestic violence went up, and divorce rates went like 50%. And for me, we became closer, during the virus. But I know a lot of people who are stuck in an apartment or in a house. It's unbearable. I mean, immediately all the things which you can ignore and put under the carpet, and leave the house, for example, and go and socialize with friends, drink beer, come back home and take it. But now you have to buy the bullet, and then I think a lot of people probably will need counseling after the coronavirus is over, because I think the damage which was made, could be whether whether to try to rebuild it, or just to let people show other ways that there is a life behind, after coronavirus.
But they need to start doing it now. They need to listen to your podcast and webinar, and they need to start doing it now, because lots of people, yes, it's a stressful situation. They're locked in together and they don't have the strategies to manage each other. A lot of couples, when they're going to work, as you said, they can forget about their issues and come home, or they can go and be with their friends. But now's the time to look at your partner and get some strategies going and stop the fighting, because when you're fighting and there's a winner, you're both losers. And it just takes a strategy. So if something is bothering you, instead of attacking your partner, you need to sit down and say, we've read Why Men Don't Listen and Women Can't Read Maps. Yeah. And in there it says you need to have a strategy. What's our strategy to overcome, you're a slob in the house and I'm tidy and I come into the lounge and it really upsets me. Talk about your own feelings. Don't go into the blame game, because that's when the other person gets upset, because they feel like you're attacking them. So you've got to come up with strategies. So for example, with Allan and I'm the tidy one. He's the one that leaves things around. Our solution is I've got a spot in the house, and everything that I find that I don't like lying around, I put it in that spot. So he never has to say, oh, Barb, do you know where such and such is? And if he does, I just smile and he goes, oh, yeah, I know what it is. And he just goes straight there. But just simple strategies. And, for women, if a man comes home, if he's in the house and he's stressed and he's got a problem, don't interrogate him. Let him go to his nothing room. Let him find the solution himself. He doesn't need you to help him find a solution. As a man, they want to find their own solutions. And then once they found that, that's when they'll come and talk to you. Don't chase him. Don't follow him around the house and say, what's happening? Don't you love me? Why are you so quiet? I can see you're stressed. You're biting your fingernails. Let him have that time. And on the other hand, for men, when a woman is talking and she's stressed, stop trying to give her solutions. If she wants a solution, her strategy is to say, and I say it to Allan all the time, darling, can you help me with this? I've got an issue. I've got a problem. I do need a solution. And then he'll help me with the solution. But if I'm just downloading and I haven't got my girlfriends and I haven't got my mum and I need to download to Allan, I'll just say, can you please listen? And then he feeds back and I just talk and talk and talk and talk. And at the end of it, I feel fantastic. And he feels great, because he hasn't felt like, oh, she's giving me 45 million problems to solve and I know she's not listening. So there's just so much you can do in a relationship. Don't wait until the virus is gone. Let's do it now. Let's solve the problems that are in the relationship. And you've got the time to do it. Get a book, read in bed. Say things like, we have couples that write into us all the time and they'll say, they lie in bed and say, oh, Barbara and Allan say this. What do you think? And they sit there and they have this good time just chatting backwards and forwards about what we've said, and then they say we like their solution. Oh, what about this solution? And then they create their own. And that's what life's about. It's not about fighting and being a winner and being better, and we're not better or worse than each other, we're just different. And that's the difference is what attracts us to the opposite sex. I don't want to be married to the same, I don't want to be married to me. I want to be married to I want to be married to someone who's different, who challenges me, not someone who's the same as me and thinks the same as me and would probably drive me crazy. I just want someone who, you know, Allan he challenges me, and I love it. And I love that we're different, because I'd feel really bored with the same person.
Yes, yeah. So it's like you're already talking about like counseling. So it's not even coaching. I think it's counseling. And
I do all. Whatever
Mm.
a person needs in their life, I'm there for them. I just want them to understand where they are and what they can do to get out of it. And upskilling, reading a book, learning, making yourself positive. That's what life's about, not sitting there feeling sad and waiting for the country to open up so that you think you can go back to your life and you'll be happy. You've probably realised there's a lot of things in your life that aren't working. So use this time to get some solutions going and some strategies. And with your kids, I know you spend so much time with your baby girls, and I love that. And we do the same with our kids. What a gift to be able to, in this crazy world, have your children with you 24/7.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. I cannot stop saying that.
I know, and I am exactly the same. And I have lots of people saying, I can't wait for the kids to go back to school because we're allowed to go back on Monday. And I said, I'm actually sad. I like the noise of the children in the house, and I like how they come down all the time. And, you know, if they finish their lessons 5 minutes, they're in my office. Oh, we've got 5 minutes before the next lesson. It's fantastic. So embrace that, because, you know, we don't have a lot of time with our children. If you think of it in terms, most kids leave when they're about 18. So we have 18 Christmases with our children. When you think of it in those terms, it's not very many.
Yes, yes. And yes, and that's what always kind of I sometimes keep telling myself, because if I do something important and girls come and they feel, but then I feel like, look, there'll be a time when they don't need you anymore, when they will feel embarrassed maybe in your presence even. So enjoy it, you know, they come to you. Just this is the most important. The rest is just a game. I mean, I think relationship, kids, love, that's what really, truly important. Health, the rest is...
What do you want to write on your tombstone? He was a fantastic writer, speaker, negotiator, educator, or he was a great dad, grandfather, friend, husband. What do you want to write? I want my kids to say, I love my mum. She was always there for me. No matter what, she would do what needed to be done. That's what I want. I want my friends to say I was always there for them. And I want Allan to say I was a fantastic wife and friend. So, you know, that's more important than all the successes. I mean, I get asked all around the world when we're being interviewed, what's your greatest goal in life? And my greatest goal is my husband and my children. That's my greatest goal, not writing books or, you know, doing successful seminars, but, you know, how my husband and my children and my friends think about me. That's my greatest gift.
And I think the corona makes it kind of right. I mean, all the things, I mean, what's really important comes on the surface, and what's not important, we even feel kind of silly thinking that, you know, some, you know, scratch on the car can upset you for months, or, you know, not being able to get some new designer clothes or something, you know, discount. What a rubbish, you know, what a really rubbish. It's, yeah.
I think when the world even reopens, I think a lot of people are going to have different, you know, aspects or prospects or thinking processes about, as you said, clothes and going out for dinner and spending exorbitant amounts of money on food, you know, at a restaurant or expensive wines. I think that everyone realises that just being with their family is the most important thing, and playing, like at night we play with the kids, and we have such a good time just laughing, who's winning, who's ganging up on the other. Bella and I work together a lot to win the game, and they're the memories that you want, not that you've got to design a handbag or outfit that's cost $3,000 when you could have done a lot of fun things with that money.
And creativity. I mean, we took a lot of rubbish out of garage, all these old tires, and they were building shoulders. And, we have so-called challenges every day, to cycle on this small, plank of wood. And there are so many things. And that's creativity, because at school, they don't get that creativity. They get information. But creativity is when they play. And the relationship between girls became better. Before they were quarreled and there were jealousy, especially on Daria, the oldest part. But now they're much, much better. They know that there is no one else to play with, so they have to communicate, to give up and take. So it's really, it's great. And I feel so much positive. I even do not want, and I'm a little bit scared to go back to sort of normal. I don't want people to forget. I don't want myself to forget this feeling of what's important in life, and not to get it blurred by all these distractions which are not really worth.
But a great solution to that is to pick a day on the weekend that's family day.
Yeah.
The other day they can go out, you can go out and socialize, but on, maybe a Saturday, that's when it's family time, and you do all the fun things around the house and go out to the beach and just be a family unit. And that will keep the spirit in your heart, that, that feeling that we've had for so long. I'm going to do that. I'm going to capture my children for a day and be with them.
Maybe not just one day, maybe, 2 days even, because
my kids are older, so they want their friends. But then, we have an environment in our house when the kids come over. They're my kids when they come to our place. They have the run of the house. They go to the fridge when they want. I cook, I kiss, everything. They're part of my world. It's their second home, and that's, I think, a really good gift to give to your friends' children, that they feel relaxed and that this is their second home, and they feel safe in your environment. And so when the kids come over, I have a ball when they've got their friends playing, and we still play and they use my office, and they do videos for me, and it's great. It's really good.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Barbara. I really I cannot stop saying that you are part of my life, and we happen to be living in the same, period of time. And thanks God we were became connected. And I remember even my first call or my email to Pease International, and then I was asking, whether Allan will be interested in giving a talk. And then from that it started. And one regret which I still have, and I hope it will be kind of eliminated, that we didn't spend as much time as we should. And at least for me, it's a blessing. But I don't want to focus on regret, focus on what I can do now, and I can talk to you now.
When the world opens up and there's all these measures in place so that we can come back, we are definitely coming as a team to, we'll do seminars together, so Allan can do the presentation, and then we can do a Q&A so that people can ask questions of me as well. So there's always a way that we can reconnect, and then you have to come to Australia as well. So we'll get there. We'll spend more time.
There are a lot of things to look forward. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Barbara. Thank you. And I will promote the gesture among my friends and my viewers, and I'll be doing that from now on.
Good. Remember the smile. Take care.
Have a lovely day, and then talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Bye.